Hello and welcome to Intuitive Nature, the podcast. My name is Susan Jane and I believe that trusting your intuition is the best way to live your life with meaning and purpose. Each week you will hear about how you can connect, develop and trust your intuition through meditations, readings and my own personal experiences. Join me to understand how your intuition can guide you towards a life full of meaning and loving purpose. Hello and welcome to Intuitive Nature, the podcast. I'm Susan Jane, the Intuitist, and I'm your host for this Intuition and Spirituality series. Now, crazy things have happened this week, and today I want to talk about how to live an intuitive life. Now, the reason why I'm talking about that is because of the crazy things that have happened this week. Now, my motto has always been when living an intuitive life is there's four elements that I really look at. One of them is awareness. The next one is reflection. Then we look at implementation and the opportunities. Now, this is like my methodology for living an intuitive life. And in all of my programs that I'm putting together, this methodology will always come about first of all. Now, the four elements are like this, are almost like past, present and future, but it is the now that's first. So now is about awareness. The past is about reflection. The present is about our implementation, how we want to put this forward. And then the opportunities is about the future. So where I always tend to go past, present and future, but what triggers the past, present and future is what's happening in the now. Now, with the crazy week I've had, this has really come to the forefront for me this time. Now, there's been a situation. I was heading down, I live on the Gold Coast, I was heading down to Melbourne to visit family, mum and dad mainly, and my daughter, my eldest daughter. Now, just before, that was meant to be for Thursday, and the week before that, on the Thursday, I got a phone call from my daughter saying that there was problems down there, can I come down earlier? Now, this was the awareness. This is where we start to look at the awareness, what's going on, what's happening. Now, in my life in general, because all my three have got their own family, so I'm on my own with my partner, and I have a pretty organised life, I guess you would call it, because I can actually decide on to do things, create meetings and opportunities and different things like that, and I can usually follow them through. There's not usually a problem with it. But for this particular time, most of them there wasn't. Got the hairdresser postponed, really need a haircut. Did the accountant, got that all postponed, got lots of things postponed. But there's one thing in particular that I was really looking forward to doing and knew I had to let that go. Again, I want to bring in the awareness, because what had happened, this thing that I was really, really passionate about. For Christmas, the family had given me a voucher to do craft. No, to do some craft work. I could choose at this craft parlour, I could choose whatever I wanted to do. Now, part of my sort of New Year resolution this year was to give myself some time. I tend to work quite hard. I tend to put a lot of time and effort into it. I tend to help a lot of people and not always give myself the time and time basically that I really feel like I deserve. So I do tend to put myself towards the back of the queue when it comes to that. So on the 1st of the 1st, 2021, I jumped onto this website and I booked a craft session. Now, I wanted to do homewares, resin homewares. So you do the cheese board and you put the resin on it, and I wanted to do that. I wanted to do it in the darker, deep purple blues to the lighter blue and then into white. So it sort of looked a bit like a wave, this wave effect. So I sort of had it all set. So on the 1st of the 1st, 2021, I booked this workshop, and it wasn't until March that the workshop was on. I went, okay, I'll be patient, I can wait. As soon as I booked it though, I had this very strong awareness that it wasn't going to come about. Something was going to stop it. And this is the awareness I'm talking about. Now, I was quite aware of it, and it wasn't like, oh, did I think about it? No, it was very, very clear that this wasn't going to come about. And of course, me being me went, yes, it will. Not very intuitive, really. I went, yes, it will. I will make sure it does, you know. So I've been given this awareness. I'm going to make sure it happens. So I had workshops, my workshops that I run. I worked them around this Sunday session, this Sunday in March that I wanted to do this craft workshop. I had meetings I'd worked all around. I had the trip to Melbourne, worked that around it. Everything was worked around this particular craft because I was so keen to do it. And because of this awareness that I had, it was like, okay, well, I need to make sure I put everything in place for it. So what happened was when my daughter phoned up and said there was problems, can I come down earlier? Of course, it was the weekend of this particular course, and I got so angry and so frustrated, not with my daughter, with myself. I got so annoyed because I knew that there was going to be a problem, and I chose not to take action when I had plenty of time to take action. I chose not to reflect on it, to get an understanding of it, to implement some measures for it. I chose not to look at the opportunities that I could take forward and change the situation. I was given all the information and I chose to ignore it. Not living an intuitive life. Intuitive life is understanding the awareness and actually doing something about it. So this is why I wanted to talk about living an intuitive life. And look, we all do this. We all make these mistakes. And honestly, we get this information and I think to myself, as I did, well, okay, I've been given the understanding of it. I've been given the awareness. So surely I can tweak it to match, you know, but I didn't tweak it enough. I didn't look at it. I pushed everything aside to try and keep this time frame in what I should have really done. It just changed it. I should have gone, you know what, that's not going to work. I need to change that. I've been given that information. It was loud and clear. It wasn't wishy-washy. It was very loud. It was very clear. So when we're living this intuitive life, when we are living intuitively, we've got to be very, very mindful of that awareness, that information we're getting. Now, that awareness can come in an emotion. It can come in a thought, a feeling. It can come in, we may hear it, we may see it. You know, we get this information all the time. When I often see, and I've talked about this before, I often see 1, 2, 3, 4 running, like 12:34. The time is 12:34. And I know you can see that twice a day if you're looking for it. When you're not looking for it and all of a sudden you pick up the phone and there's 12:34, it's like, wow. I keep getting that, and that means growing, that means running on, and you can look at the angel numbers to see exactly what that means. But it's really strange how we will often see things and they catch our eye. I don't know how many times I've looked at the clock and seen a time and it's not meant anything. It's meant the time. Whoa, that's something original. So the time just meant the time. But then there's other times you look at it and all of a sudden these numbers pop out. So we're getting these signs all the time. And this is that awareness. This is how important awareness is, and the first step of our methodology. If you're feeling sad, if you're feeling different things, there's reasons why we do that. And the next step in understanding that awareness is to reflect on it. So reflection's the next step. Now, I got really, really angry, like I said, because I had to change this. Now, the reason why I got angry when I reflected back was the fact that I knew there was something was going to happen and I chose not to do anything about it. That really annoyed the crap out of me because I had total control over it and I chose to ignore it. So reflecting back on that, I've done that a few times. And I'm sure everyone else has done it. You've just known that something's not going to be right, and yet you let it go. You just, let's see what happens. So reflection is really, really important. And when this all came about, I reflected on that and realised that I was really annoyed because I had been given the signs, I had been given the awareness, and I chose not to use it. So I wasn't angry with my daughter and her asking, you know, for help. That was the last thing I was angry about. But I remember when I first made the booking all over the website. It said, no refunds, no transfers. And it was like, and that's when I went, oh, there's going to be a problem and I'm not going to be able to do anything about it. That was the awareness I got. And the funny thing was, I was talking to my daughter in the car yesterday, and she said, that happened to me all the time. She said, but I wasn't sure if it was because I thought about it and then I manifested it. And I thought, well, maybe I've looked at that. So I reflected again. Did I look at something and go, okay, there was a thought there and I've actually manifested because I was thinking of it, constantly thinking of it. And I had another take and I went, no, you know what? That awareness was so instant, was so real, so there. It made me think about it as I went along. I didn't manifest it. It was already there. So when we manifest something, it's more about when you're intentionally thinking about it. So if I signed up for this program, for this workshop, and I was so excited and everything else and went away, and then 2 weeks later I went, oh, what if I can't go? That's more of a manifestation, because then if that starts to spin in my head, what if I can't go, what if I can't go, what if I can't go? That's more like a manifestation. That's more like I'm creating it. Whereas this one was an instant thought, an instant reaction like, oh, you're not going to be able to go. There's going to be a problem. That was what it was. There's going to be a problem. And it was made it so real because I looked at the website and said, you can't transfer and you can't get a refund. That's when I went, oh, it's going to be a bigger problem than I thought. So I'm reflecting back. I've got that understanding of that. I've got that awareness. Also, on reflecting back, I've gone, oh, sugar, now what am I going to do? Because I can't return it. Now, this was Friday. My daughter had phoned me up on Thursday, really upset, really distressed. And so Friday was like, right, get everything organised, get everything sorted out, you fly out Saturday, which I did. So on the Friday, I started getting everything organised. Now, the first thing I did was I changed the address appointment. You know, I could do those. They were pretty easy because they were just text messages. So they were fine and I've got them sorted straight away. However, the workshop was a little bit of a different manner. Went onto the website, couldn't see any phone numbers because I just want to give them a quick phone and say, what can I do? You know, really, can I really not change it? I can prove that I have to go. What can I do? How can we get through this? I'm really keen to do it. No phone number. All right. So I went onto my emails and you get the reply emails from when you've booked the workshop. So no phone numbers on there. And I've gone, okay, well, all I can do is email. So sent an email from there explaining what had happened. I can prove that I have to go. I've got flight tickets, the tickets for the flights, you know, everything there. I don't want a refund. I really just want to do the program, you know, all this and you know, basically put my heart on my line. I was getting emotionally really cut up with this. And this is all part of the implementation. I'm implementing. I'm asking implementation, ask, receive, action. I'm implementing it. So I'm asking for guidance here. And I've gone to look for phones, haven't got it. Gone to look for emails. Okay, jumped on the email, sent that off. Now, we know what emails are like. We can send them off and they might not be seen for a few days or whatever. This was Friday, so I'm thinking, are they going to see it before the weekend? You know, and it's on Sunday. The event is on Sunday. So I jumped onto their website. I sent them another email, and I got an automatic email back. Now, I wasn't sure when I got the automatic email back, but I believe now it's from the website. Coming back saying, oh, they'll get back to me within 24 to 48 hours. Well, that's the weekend. That's gone. And if they didn't do it over the weekend, when? So I did go into panic mode. Not proud of it. I went into panic mode. Ask a friend if she would take my spot. I didn't want to lose it. It was a couple $100 worth. I didn't want to lose it. And I was so upset because my family had bought it. I was going to have to tell my family I couldn't do it. All sorts of stuff and nonsense. And, of course, emotionally, I'm already extended because of what was happening with my daughter 2 states away, and I couldn't do anything about it. So there was a lot going on there. So the implementation started happening. So then I started to ask and everything else. With the implementation, We've done the reflecting, we've looked at it, we've got an understanding of it. With the implementation, it's allowing us to actually action something, to do something. Now, if I had sat for a minute and not got so stuck in my emotions, the implementation would have been to sit back, maybe even meditate, or just sit quietly for a minute and ask for some guidance. And that's how you live an intuitive life. Not go off the handle, similar to what I did, but how to live an intuitive life, not like I do. So sit with it for a bit and ask. So ask, receive, action. Ask for some guidance. Ask for an understanding of what it's all about. Ask to get some help. I didn't know, went into panic mode and went, email here, help. Eventually I got an email back. I got the automatic one, but later on I got one back saying, oh, your friend's already connected us. We can see that you're happy to hand over your gift to someone else. And I've gone, what? No way. So I had asked, I sent the email, I had received not what I wanted to get back, and then I needed to action. And so, yes, I actually put forward a couple of emails, and look, they weren't rude, because I'm not a rude person, but they were pretty to the point. I was really, really disappointed. It's strange. This meant a lot to me to put this together, because it was a big step for me to go, it's time to give back to yourself. And I've tried to do that, and it sort of backfired on me. And it's easy to blame everyone else. But when I really start to look at it, I go, you know what? The only person's fault it is mine. You know, I had the awareness. I reflected on that awareness and chose to ignore it. So in all honesty, it was my fault. So anyway, a few emails backwards and forwards, and in the end, they resolved it. And they said, look, in situations like that, we're more than happy to transfer it, but we have to be mindful that when you've got it on the website, people think you can transfer it willy-nilly. And I went, yeah, I get that, I understand that. I said, but I would have just loved a phone number that I could just have cleared this up in 2 minutes instead of over the period of the day, which dragged out. They did let me know that if I Google searched it, they would have come up with a phone number. If I was on all their social media, it would have come up with a phone number. Well, I didn't Google search it. I didn't need to. I knew who it was. And I also wasn't connected with them through their social media, so I didn't have a phone number. So anyway, it all sorted out. I did apologise if I had upset anybody, if I did anything wrong. I do apologise. I was so looking forward to doing it. It really devastated me, especially going through the information that I got back from my daughter in the state that she was in, and then that all building up together. So that's, what we're looking at there. So the fourth bit is the opportunity. So when I asked properly and I received the information properly, I could then start to action it. And I went, okay, so can we do this? Can we do this? Is this possible? Is that possible? And then the opportunities started to open up. And it was more than positive. It was perfect. It was a great way of doing it. And I reflect back now at what had happened, and because I'm a big reflector, I can assure you, big reflector. If we don't learn by our mistakes, we are going to get them over and over again. If we do not reflect and have a look at what's going on and try and get an understanding of that, I assure you, to a T, you are going to get it again and again and again and again until you do. So I reflected again on what had happened and how it came about and what it meant. So in my secondary reflection, after it all gone through, there has been many cases in my life when something like that has happened, and I've always come off second best. I've always accepted it and allowed it to go through. In a situation like that, I've done this before where I've gone, okay, well, I can't do it, so I've handed it to someone else and stepped away and walked away. It never made me feel good. It never really made me feel good. I always was putting everybody else before me, and this was my pushback. So on reflection, this was my pushback. And sure, when we push back, we often push back harder than we really need to. But it's us pushing through our own barrier first. And because we're pushing through our own barrier, we push back pretty hard. We can do that pretty hard. Once we've got through our first barrier, next time something like this happens, I won't respond and react the same way because I've already pushed through my own personal barrier. So I don't need to do that anymore. So as I've pushed through that and we get through those personal barriers, we can understand those other ones a lot better. So if this happens again, I know that I will go without the emotion, without too much. I will be able to sort through it, ask, receive, and action something a lot more positively and a lot easier and clearer. And I won't have all those things caught up with me. Now, the other thing I look at too when I reflect back like that is the fact that why did it all happen the way it did? Now, in general, I would have just let it go and had to suck it up. But because of what was happening with my daughter, it made me emotional. And I sort of went, no, this is not going to happen again. It gave me the emotional power or the energy, emotional energy to push through the barrier that I had, the personal barrier that I had. So in all honesty, it was perfect for what the situation was. Not easy to go through, but perfect for what the situation was. So by having all this emotional stuff happening through my daughter and what was happening there, it allowed me to go, right, this is not going to happen to me anymore. I'm not sucking it up. This is not fair. I've paid the money. I've done everything I've needed to do. I've done all the right things. I want to do this course and I'm not going to let it go. There's got to be some sort of process in place that allows people to access it when you've had a bad situation, when something's out of your control. And so in doing all this, so I've got this awareness, I've gone through the reflection, I've gone through this implementation and understanding what I'm feeling and why I'm feeling it and the positives to happen. It wasn't nice when it was happening, but in the long run, it's been really, really positive when I reflect back again and have a look at it. So now I go, all right, I've reflected back, I've got an understanding, how can I implement that again next time? So next time I've got to be more mindful, ask, sit back, get an understanding of what's going on. Don't respond so much to the emotion, get an understanding of what it's all about. Because I responded to the emotion, I responded emotionally. In responding emotionally, I went out of character. That's not how I am. Yes, I do get emotional. Yes, I do respond emotionally, but I don't do it usually in a negative manner. And I was like, man, I was like a bull in a china shop. This was it, and you're doing this, and I want this, and really sort of. I can't really say I carried on compared to how some people carry on, but for me, it wasn't how I would normally carry on, and I don't like doing that. So the last email I sent back, and I did apologise. I did apologise. I was acting under emotions. I was feeling stressed. I was feeling really trapped and unsure of it. And I apologised, not with the situation, but I apologised if I upset anyone because I didn't mean to. I had no intention of doing that. All I wanted to do was resolve this situation, and I couldn't find the phone number to resolve it quickly, and so it dragged out. So they responded back saying, no, all good, understand where you're coming from, it's fine. So we've actually finished off, we've actually created this lovely opportunity now that I can go there without feeling uncomfortable. I can do this course, that's what I wanted to do, or this workshop, without feeling uncomfortable. So it's allowed us to have this opportunity to grow and to go forward with it. So we're going forward in a positive manner. I can also look at when something like this happens again, how I can respond to it in a better way. So how I can respond to it intuitively. And the first thing I do is go back to the awareness and go, well, hang on, you knew it was going to happen. You knew something was going to happen. You might not have known what it was, and you might not have been able to control what it was, but you knew there was a situation there. So even if I did continue on, I shouldn't have been so grumpy when it happened because I was aware of it. I was grumpy because I was aware of it and I didn't do anything about it. So I've got to change the way we're thinking and the way we look at it. So we look when we're going through these situations, the methodology I use is awareness, reflection, implementation, and opportunities. So when something triggers us, when there's this awareness happening, whether it was the awareness that I knew that there was something I wasn't going to be able to do this course, or with the awareness that I was angry because I couldn't do the course, anger is still another awareness. Why am I angry? And I directed it at them because they didn't have something on their website. I directed it at them when, in all honesty, the anger was really directed at myself because I was aware and I didn't do anything about it. Awareness, reflection, implementation. How can we, if we become aware of it, we've reflected on it and we go, okay, well, we know what to do now. We've got an understanding of it. How do we implement that? And the first thing we need to do is ask, give ourselves time to ask. Stop, don't react, don't do the knee-jerk reaction. Ask somebody, ask somebody something, ask yourself, just ask. Say it out loud. What do I do? Say it quietly. No, you can't hear that. Say it to yourself. It doesn't matter. What's the best way to go forward here? And then give yourself time to receive some answers. Give yourself time to receive that information. Majority of times it comes really quick. When you're intuitive, it comes really quick. And sometimes we don't even have to ask. Like I said, when I booked this appointment, I didn't ask, am I going to be able to go to it? I didn't ask if that date was any good. But by booking it, it was like asking. And I got this awareness. I got this information straight away. The information came to me and I chose to ignore it. That's the action part. We can action it however we want to. When we get this information coming through us, we can action it however we want to. But again, be mindful how you do that. When you don't have, when our intuition is giving us information, we don't always get the whole lot. It's very rare that you get, okay, in my instance, don't book it for that date because something's going to happen, or don't book it for that date because you're not going to be able to make it. You don't get a clear understanding of it. It's like, all I got was like, something's not right. And the only thing I could go with, something's not right. I'm not going to be able to make it. Something's going to happen. And I mean, at that stage, it could have been COVID closes down. There's, you just don't know. You don't know what it is. Things just didn't feel right. So we don't get a lot of information. So we have to respond and act however we can. So in doing that, in responding, even if we don't respond, but in the acting, in whatever we do, it allows us to have more opportunities. The opportunity to change, the opportunity to keep it the same and learn from it, the opportunity to do something different. So awareness, reflection, implementation, opportunity. Let's have a look at the opportunity. And sometimes I find the opportunity is to reflect back and have a look at how we could have done it better, or how we could have done it differently to get a better result. So we're constantly going through this. I'm aware of something, I'm reflecting on it, I'm implementing an idea, and I'm looking for opportunities. And we just keep on going through this cycle, and it's constant, and it's always happening. And that's the beauty of it, because we're constantly learning, whether we're learning the easy way or whether we're learning the hard way. And I choose the easy way most of the time. Now, this time I didn't, but most of the time I choose the easy way. And that we can do with being aware of it, reflecting on things, implementing little things, whether we ask, receive, and action, we implement little things. And probably where I go into the implementation a bit more, a bit stronger, and I've gone into it, you'll see it in another podcast. It's called Ask, Receive, Action. Why I go into that, because that implementation is, well, if we don't do anything, we're just going to get the same result. So we need to do that. If we don't do some implementation, we're not going to see the opportunities. So implementation is as simple as ask, well, what am I doing here? Receive, oh, I'm here because I'm helping my daughter. Action, okay, well, get up and do some work then and help your daughter. So it's as simple as that, but it can also be as detailed as well. So we can really go in and asking can be a meditation every morning, you know, how can I help make the world a better place? And you'll get these tiny little messages saying, well, pick up that piece of rubbish that's on the floor. That will help make the world a better place. And so you action it, you pick it up and put it in. So it's all these little messages that we're getting. That's how we live an intuitive life. Messages, and getting the understanding between the messages, the intuitive messages you're receiving, and our thoughts is very challenging. It can be very, very hard. And again, we can sometimes know that they're intuitive messages and we still have that choice. We've still got free will to ignore it. But that is a bit about how to live an intuitive life. It is about being aware of how you're feeling or what you're experiencing, what's going on. It is reflecting, and when you're aware of something, it's been brought to your attention. It's been brought to your attention for a reason. Reflect on that. Get an understanding of that. How does it make you feel? What does that remind you of? What does that look like? How is that going to be? You know, we reflect on that side of it. And when I say reflect, it's not all about the past. It's about just reflecting on it, getting an understanding of it, seeing what that looks like to you. So awareness, reflection, implementation, talked about that, ask, receive, and action, and then the opportunities, and allow for those opportunities to come forward. Some crazy things can happen. Like, it's not necessarily a positive, it doesn't necessarily mean to be a positive. Opportunities happen in so many different ways, because sometimes we're given this positive opportunity, but we don't respond to it. Like, I was given this opportunity to change the date that I was going to do this workshop, but I didn't respond to it. I was given the awareness, which is allowing me that opportunity, but I didn't respond to it. So we're often given these opportunities, and it's a matter of us looking at it and being aware that, oh, I like the sound of that. I'm going to go there. I'm going to have a look at that, see what that's all about, and going with it. So living an intuitive life, being aware, first off, what's happening now? Reflecting on that, looking at what that means to you, that what's happening now, what does that mean to you? Implementing means ask, receive, and action. So when we're intimate, we've got a reflection, we've got an understanding of it, we implement something, we ask about it, we try and get some information on it, and we try and action that. And when I say try, you do it in your way, and then we look for more opportunities to go forward with that. So that is how we live an intuitive life. I've looked at the opportunities to, when I came down here a bit earlier, what were the opportunities I can do with that? You know, is there a way I can utilise this to the best of my advantage while still helping? So that's what I've done there. But that is me for today. What I have done on Facebook, if you're interested, is, I should have put that thing on the front. Sorry. I have got Emotional Mastery, which is a private group. Now, I'm asking people to answer a few questions on this. This is all about the awareness side of it. Emotional Mastery is about the awareness side of your intuition. So it's about getting an understanding of, a lot of it's to do with feelings and emotions, because often we don't respond unless it has that emotional aspect. You know, this example helps you understand that. So Emotional Mastery is a private group. I want to be mindful of the people on it and in it. Ask to join, just fill in the little questions, and we'll go from there. The other group, if you just want to have a bit of a look around, is called Intuitive Personal Development. All right, and that is an open group. It's a public group, so we won't go too deep with that one. It's just about having a group of like-minded people in together and being able to put something together with that one. I have to be honest, I'm not really very active on these groups as yet. I am putting, with doing the kids and everything else, it does start to get a little bit hard to be as active. I am going through some changes to the website and everything else, so I hope to be more active on there. So I reckon that's my first port of call. The intuitive personal development, or Emotional Mastery if you want to go further down into that. Ask to join those. I have got courses on the website and different things like that, but I'm just starting to do a big trust program. It's the Intuitive Trust program, and just putting that together. I've got a few clients on that one, so that's taking up a lot of my time at the moment. But I just hope everybody has a great week. Subscribe if you don't want to miss anything. I've got an amazing lady next week that you'll really enjoy talking to. I've got a few booked in, a few interviews booked in actually. So I'm really looking forward to that. And one of them's she's talking about passion and life purpose and how we can get them confused. That was really interesting. So I'm not too sure if that's next week's or the one, in the future. I can't remember now, with all the changes happened this week. But anyway, that's me for now. Have a great week. Have a lovely life. Live an intuitive life. Start to become aware, reflect, implement, and look for opportunities, because that's how we get through our life. It's just amazing. The opportunities come up when we least expect it. Is amazing. I'm Susan Jane. I'm going to press my ending video, and I'm going to say bye for now. Have a great day.